Welcome to Subramani. Please subscribe, please hit the bell icon. I say it once in a while, so please listen to me. I was thinking of, I was reading a book about IBM, and sometime in the 60s, when IBM was accused of being a monopoly, I think it was late 60s, and an antitrust case was filed against them. IBM decided to counter it very well by choosing the jurisdiction, and they would look for judges who were reasonably old, so that in case of death the whole case would have to be read again. And then they did one thing: they exhausted the legal system by dumping tons of paper, really hundreds of pieces of paper which had to be read, because the lawyers from the IBM side were well prepared. So the literally inundated the courtroom with paper and completely exhausted them. Then they would change the, if say a judge died, then it would go to another judge, so again it would take time. So they could pull this case on, which in the US is very difficult, for 13 years. In India it's very common to get adjournment for 31 years also, but in the US they pulled it for 13 years, and then the case got dismissed. I also think the case got dismissed because the judicially or the judicial system there got exhausted by the amount of data thrown at them. Data relevant, not relevant, etc. wouldn't matter, but then so much data was thrown at them that it cost the government upwards of $15 million to fight that case. How much did it cost IBM? There is no, I mean, I have no clue of that. So why am I bringing it up here? I'm saying one thing you can always win is by the sheer quantum of work that you do, right? So sheer brutal power that you go and put into it. For example, if you want to be a good fast runner, right? Good fast runner, and you're young, you don't have to run fast, you have to run slow for very long periods of time. Say you want to run a half marathon and you think you will do a half marathon in say under 2 hours. The amount of running that you have to do it every day, do it at a slow speed. You make sure that you run for 2 hours every day. If you run for 2 hours every day, you're talking about 60 hours of running. Maybe weekends you run more, so it will become maybe 100 hours of running in a month. You do that for a year, speed will not matter. You build enough strength in your body to be able to run a half marathon under 2 hours. Of course, you will have to do some speed training. I'm not saying you don't have to, but making sure that your body gets a huge, humongous amount of training really helps. You don't have to worry too much about the speed initially. Just build stamina. One day speed will follow. So to run fast, you should actually run slow, but huge quantum. I mean, you should be overwhelmed by the quantum of running that you're doing. Now, same thing, how can you use brute force in your investing? You can use it by saying, I will put more and more money, but I don't need very sophisticated techniques. I don't need technicals, I don't need anything. I will just go and put money in a low cost index fund, but I will put so much money that returns may not matter to me. Whether I get 10% or 12% or 18% will not matter to me, because I have increased my savings rate dramatically. In the Indian context, I also see a lot of women taking a break and then not going back into being in service. Let's take a simple example. Here is a husband who is earning X amount of money, and he is able to save, let's say, 2 lakhs a month. The wife, who had given up the job and when the kid was born, is not got back into the job market, but now the kid is 8 years old or 7 years old. Now she gets into the job market and she starts investing maybe 50,000 rupees a month, right? It's not a great amount, but totally all the expenses are being borne by the husband. So the husband is able to invest 2 lakhs and the wife is able to invest 50,000. Now 50,000 means 6 lakhs in a year. 24 lakhs is what the husband is investing. 6 lakhs is 25% of that. No investment guru, no investment strategy, nobody can give you 25% a year on year continuously for the next 20 years, right? So let us say for the next 20 years she is able to contribute to the kitty of the saving, which is about 20% or 25% of what he is investing. After some time, when he is investing 3 lakhs, she is able to invest 75,000 or something like that. It keeps increasing 20-25% of what he is saving. Now the corpus that is created with a simple strategy called indexing and he taking term insurance will be greater than all other strategies put together. Nobody can give you 25% return. Apart from this, of course, there will be some return which you get from the indexing index portfolio. Maybe you get 12%, right? That's not bad, but the fact that you have increased the amount of money and you let it remain there untouched for a long period of time, this is exactly what you're doing. You're using brute force. You're not using any great amount of there is no great sense going into it, but just the fact that you're putting more money than what your neighbor is putting or what you could have put if your wife was not working. That plus the fact that you're not touching that money because you've created other pockets to remove money from for your children's education or whatever you have, your parents' medical needs, you have taken adequate medical insurance, etc., etc., or you have some other money in debt funds which you're able to touch. That itself will mean that this fund will be uninterrupted for, let's say, 20 years, and the fact that you're putting 25% more than what you could have put just because your wife is also contributing to it is going to give you far superior returns, right? So exactly what IBM did was inundate the inundate the courts with paper. You are doing that. You are putting as much money as possible. It could be a good fund that you pick also, right? It need not be an index fund, but I'm just saying, suppose you put money in an index fund, but you and your wife both put, your wife is able to put 25% of what you are putting. That itself is giving you a great return, right? So you don't have to take any risk. The need to take risk is eliminated by increasing the quantum of money and by keeping it there for a long period of time. This combination is much better than trying to use new strategies and say, can I get 18%, can I get 22%? You don't need it. Increase your saving rate, make sure that your spouse is also working and she is also saving, right? Once or saving and therefore being invested. This itself will give you enough confidence that 50 to say, oh, I now need not work, or to say, now I can take life a little more easy. I'll continue to work, but I'll also continue to take big vacations from the age of 50 to 60, and that's the way I learn and prepare for my retirement at 60. You could do all these combinations. All this happened just because of the brute strength called indexing and the fact that you and your spouse could invest more. It makes a lot of sense to do this, but I'm not even getting into whether you should work 70 hours a week, whether women should work, women work at home. I'm not getting into any of this, but increasing savings and saving more completely obviates the need to take risk to get higher returns. That's the essence of what I'm trying to say. Thank you.